It is. All right. Okay, let's get started. Criminal justice come to order. We don't quite have a quorum. When we get one, we'll call the roll and take some action. Prior to that, let's have testimony from members. We've got a large agenda, so I am going to urge everyone to try to stay within the 2 minutes. These bills are in pretty good shape, or they wouldn't be scheduled. With that said, we welcome everyone here, and your points you want to make. Senator Zaffarini on House Bill 2670.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman and members, House Bill 2670 by Representative Donna Howard relates to the composition of a Sexual Assault Survivors Task Force and to compensation for task force members and certain other task force participants. Generally, members, it would continue the Governor's Sexual Assault Survivors Task Force by removing its September 1st expiration date, add key stakeholders such as persons from the Department of Public Safety on its membership, and authorize travel reimbursement for members requested by the Governor's staff to travel to task force hearings.
Any questions of the author? Chair is none. Justin Wood, Children's Advocacy Centers for Texas. General Counsel is in support, does not wish to testify. Thomas Parkinson is present. No testimony. Representing himself. And Sidney Mike Mayer with Texas Advocacy Project is present, does not wish to testify. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. You raise your hand. You want what?
I believe you have my card.
Yeah, I don't have it yet. It's don't find. Give us your testimony. We'll fill out the card later. Okay. You filled out a card?
I believe so.
What's your name?
Linda Litzinger.
I haven't seen it. It don't matter. State your name for the record and who you represent. But
thank you.
If my able staff doesn't find it, you can.
I'll fill it out then. Okay, my name is Linda.
Give us about 2 minutes of your views.
Thank you. It'll be less. My name is Linda Litzinger. I'm with Texas Parent to Parent. I'm for the bill, and I'm representing Texas Parent to Parent and myself. We are very much for this committee being continued. We have children who tend to bolt out of their house or their school or their church or wherever because they have ADHD or autism. And many times they are called runaways and not looked for by law enforcement, and they are sex trafficked. And we also have children that are released from a hold in jail even though nobody pressed charges, and they don't call the parents even though they know they have a disability, and the sex traffickers are waiting outside of the jail. So we are very happy that this committee exists, and we encourage you to continue it. Thank you very much.
Very much. We're very happy that you're here today.
Questions?
And fill out a card if we haven't found it. The dog ate it, I guess. I don't know what happened. We got it. Thank you, ma'am. Senator Zaffarini on House Bill 3186.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman and members, House Bill 3186 by Representative Jeff Leach is co-sponsored by Senator Perry. It relates to youth diversion strategies and procedures for children accused of certain fine-only offenses in municipal and justice courts and related criminal justice matter, authorizing fees. It is a Texas Judicial Council priority. Generally, members, this bill would provide courts with youth diversion strategies, alternatives to adjudication, require justice and municipal courts to adopt a youth diversion plan, and allow courts to designate a youth diversion coordinator to assist the court.
Very good, Senator. Any questions? If not, Judge Woolley of Waller County would like to testify shortly. Shortly, that means you'll be here shortly. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
State
Judge Woolley with the Justice of the Peace and Constables Association of Texas, and we're in support of this bill. The one part I'd like to point out is that we're collecting fees on these cases, and those of us in rural areas don't necessarily have the resources. So one thing this bill does is allows us to pool with other courts in our area and pool those resources to actually build some diversion programs that we aren't currently able to do. So we like the bill. We like that part of it especially.
Thank you, Judge, for being here. Megan Lavoie with Texas Judicial Council is in support as a resource. Does not wish to testify. Bill Carrier, Lubbock County Juvenile Justice is a resource witness in support. Ryan Turner, Texas Judicial Council Youth Diversion Workshop is in support. Actually a judge. Lylan Rose is in support. Does not wish to testify. John Wiest, City of Irving, is in support. Susie Kinnan is in support. Texas PTA. Anyone else for or against and would like to testify for House Bill 3186? Not, public testimony is closed. We'll leave it pending the arrival of a quorum. Senator Saffarini on House Bill 3660.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman and members, House Bill 3660 is by Representative Cody Vasut. It relates to a defense of prosecution for the offense of cruelty to non-livestock animals under certain circumstances. Generally, it would clarify that persons who bring in feral cats as part of a trap, neuter, release program, then release them, are not abandoning the animals under the animal cruelty law.
I'm sorry, I had a member call. Any questions of the author? We have witnesses. Stacy Kirby, Texas Humane Legislation Network, is in support. Does not wish to testify. Ray Hunt, HBOU Houston, is in support. Does not wish to testify. Nadia Islam is in support of the City of San Antonio. Anyone else present would like to testify for or against House Bill 3660? Not, public testimony is closed. Senator, good job.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members.
Next, I think Senator Perry showed up. Senator Perry, if you're ready. On House Bill 422.
Yes, sir.
Chair lays out a committee substitute for House Bill 422. Senator Flores moves adoption. Actually, we can't do it, but you can explain the changes and we'll adopt it when we get it.
I'll do that. Juveniles are detained in a county facility. Prior to being adjudicated, juveniles are required to appear before a court every 10 days as a detention hearing. During the COVID areas, we had an emergency order that allowed those detention hearings to be conducted remotely. Subsequent to that is going to expire, and what this does is allow those to be continued remotely because we literally have juveniles being transported in non-secure cars across county lines because we had no bed space from where the crime was committed. So it's a safety issue. We know what happens when you transport bad kids or bad people without proper restraints. So committee sub is clear that it's only juveniles.
Very good. Thank you. And we have a couple of witnesses. Mark Bittner, juvenile probation chief in Burnett County. Sir, this bill could not be in better shape.
Yes, sir. I'm just going to waive my testimony. Senator Perry did an outstanding job.
But you're welcome. You're welcome to say a word. Don't leave it.
He said it. Safety, security.
Thank you for what you do with our juvenile.
Appreciate you, sir.
He's taking care of the issue for you. Bill Carter, Lubbock, probably came up with this idea. Yeah, I know who your senator is. You got Senator. Your Senator Perry did a fine job, and you do a fine job out in Lubbock. Lynette Dury, Medina County Juvenile Probation Chief.
Yes, sir. I'm going to piggyback also. We agree.
Well, thank you, Ms. Dury. Thank you for what you do. Hondo, Texas. Lava Serrano, Texas Juvenile Justice Department, is a resource witness. Anyone else present would like to testify for committee substitute for House Bill 422? Public testimony is closed, and we will vote as soon as we get a quorum. Thank y'all for coming, and thank you for what you do. It's a tough job. Real tough job. Senator Johnson, I think, showed up. Senator Johnson on House Bill 1184.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, this bill concerns criminal data sharing. Right now, law enforcement agencies and no one else can receive state funding. They're the only they can look at access to juvenile justice data, criminal history, adult justice data. Because of this restriction, outside researchers cannot use DPS data to conduct vital analyses on the validity of certain criminal justice programs, especially disadvantageous for specialty courts, which are relatively new institutions. They rely on outside research to reveal what effect their diversion programs have on decreasing recidivism. House Bill 1184 would cultivate this type of research, enable it by granting public and private institutions of higher education, as well as certain research organizations, the ability to access CHRI data, given that they receive local, state, and federal government funding and are approved by DPS. Representative Rose worked on this bill in collaboration with DPS and coming up with the language of the bill so that we can get some assistance with outside researchers as we develop better criminal justice programs here in Texas.
Very good. Paige Williams, Dallas Criminal District Attorney's Office, is signed up in support. You think you can do a better job than he did?
I don't. So, but we do support the bill, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
If you have any comments, we're welcome them. Thank you. Good job. Thank you, ma'am. Jessica Anderson, Houston Police Department, is in support. Steve Bresnan, El Paso County, is in support. And Louis Salvarian, 2036, Texas 2036. is in support. Anyone else like to testify for or against House Bill 1184? If not, public testimony is closed. I still need another member to vote. You have another one, Mr. Johnson?
I do have one more, Mr. Chairman.
Let me find it.
Last one.
The last. House Bill 5195, recognize Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 5195 addresses a gap that we have in our youth criminal justice system. It creates a minimum standard for juvenile detainees who are awaiting adjudication tried as adults. Normally, when a kid is put into our juvenile justice system, they have access to education, mental health screening, substance abuse treatments, those kinds of things. For some reason, we have a gap. If you're a youth in youth detention facility awaiting to be tried as an adult, you are not eligible for those same rehabilitative treatments. This bill simply makes those services available to everybody who's in our juvenile courts. It's in the goal of the rehabilitative process, and I will answer any questions, and of course we have witnesses as well.
Sounds good. Luis Serrano, Texas Juvenile Justice Department, is a resource. Lauren Rose, Texas Network of Youth Services, is in support. Does not wish to testify. Brian Mitchell, Dallas Criminal District Attorney John Crusoe's office, is in support. Anyone else present that would like to testify for or against House Bill 5195? Not, public testimony is closed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members.
Good job. Senator Blanco, let's see where you are. Senator Blanco.
2877. 2877.
2877, which one? Do you have one? I recognize you on House Bill 2877.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members.
I know you have a substitute. Let me lay out the substitute.
Yes, sir.
In fact, first of all, could I get the clerk to call the roll?
Whitmer.
Present.
Flores.
Present.
Hinojosa. Huffman.
Quorum's present, so at this time, Senator Flores will move that we adopt committee substitute for House Bill 2877 and recognize its author to explain the difference.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. As you all know, gaps in compensation in the Crime Victims Compensation Act and the experiences of the people affected by the shootings at Robb Elementary and Santa Fe High School have brought to light the need to improve support for victims of crimes who are deserving of compensatory support. This bill would extend compensation under the Act to all enrolled students of public and private schools when the governor has declared a disaster at a school for a criminally injurious event. So this bill specifically creates a new class of victims under the Crime Victims Compensation Program for enrolled students who are not present at the time of the criminally injurious event. The bill would entitle this new class of victims to compensation to pecuniary loss for psychiatric care or counseling to the victims, traveling and attending funerals, and other victims. Specifically, the committee substitute will incorporate suggestions from the Office of the Attorney General to eliminate duplications of SB 49 by Senator Zaffarini, which has already passed and is sent to the governor. And specifically, the committee substitutes removes a requirement for a sexual assault or attempted murder of a child victim to qualify for relocation, and also the 10-day limit for bereavement. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions out there? Chair hears none. Couple of witnesses. Georgia Bates is providing written testimony in support. Chris Jones with Cleek is in support. Carlos Ortiz, San Antonio Police Officers Association in support of committee substitute for House Bill 2877. Jennifer Allman. Texas Catholic Conference of Bishops is in support. Tara Tucker, Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice, is in support. Linda Litzinger, Texas Parent to Parents, is in support. Paige Williams with the Dallas County Criminal District Attorney's Office is in support. Anyone else present that would like to step forward? Josh Reno, the Attorney General's Office is a resource. Anyone present that would like to testify for or against committee substitute for House Bill 2877? Not public testimony is closed. Let's start voting on these bills. Senator Flores moves that committee substitute for House Bill 2877 be reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk, call the roll.
Whitmire.
Yes.
Flores.
Aye.
Hinojosa.
Aye.
Huffman.
4 ayes, no nays. Committee substitute for House Bill 2877 is reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves that be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members.
We've got others we need to vote on, but out of respect for a member's time, let's go ahead and get the other matters. I think Senator Hughes was here first on 2660. Senator Hughes, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thank you and your excellent committee staff and members for working with us to hear the bill. House Bill 2660 comes to us from Representative Oliverson, and an important bill arising from something that happened in his district, a missing persons case and tragic death. Back in March of 2021, Timothy Perez was reported missing by the Austin Police Department. A few days later, in the neighboring city of Round Rock, just to the north, a great city, great police department, encountered Timothy, but they didn't know about the missing persons report, and so didn't know he was a missing person in distress. He wasn't detained, and he was later found deceased. We're not fussing at them. We just want to put tools in place so when this happens, surrounding areas are also notified. That's what the bill does. It makes a lot of sense to us, and we'll yield for your questions.
Any questions? If not, Russell Schaffner, Tarrant County Commissioners Court, is in support. Wishes to testify? You got 2 minutes.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to thank everybody. Russell Schaffner with the County Commissioners Court. Just wanted to thank the committee and the senator for all their hard work on this bill, and we really appreciate everyone's work to find a solution that we can move forward with, as well as and the Lieutenant Governor's office has been essential as we've worked through with this. So
all you want to do is thank us?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Job done. Well done. Thank you. Anytime. Linda Litzinger, Texas Parents to Parents. Ms. Litzinger, you want to thank us too?
Sure.
State your name before you do.
Thank you. My name is Linda Litzinger, Texas Parent to Parent. We're a statewide organization serving 14,000 children with every kind of disability, and we are for this bill. We have a mom that was supposed to be here today, but there was a family emergency. But her child has been missing twice, and they called her a runaway, even though it had to do with her disability. It wasn't running away. And they didn't call her missing. And she would find out that they hadn't even shared it with the next town that the child was missing. And she would call all over the greater Dallas area to the surrounding towns, and nobody knew. So this bill is very important.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you all have any questions?
Nope. I think the bill, you've done a great job.
Thank you.
And the senator's done a great job. So we're going forward. James Parnell, Dallas Police Association, is in support. Chris Jones with Cleats in support. Ray Hunt's in support of House Bill 2660. Dallas Reed with Texas Municipal Police Association is in support. Carlos Ortiz with San Antonio Police Association is in support, as well as Renaba Chanel. Dallas Commissioners Court's in support. Joe Sanchez, AARP, is in support. Anyone else present would like to testify for or against House Bill 2660? Not, public testimony is closed. My friend Pete Flores, Senator Flores, moves that House Bill 2660 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk, call the roll.
Whitmire.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Huffman.
4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 2660 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Flores moves it be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair hears none. So granted.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. I don't know why I want to call senators Mr. today. I guess the respect. I guess. I just they all look like Misters. Now there's a Mrs. Paxton. Senator Paxton. Show Senator Miles present. Not Senator Paxton showing, but call you up. Senator Miles, thank you for being here. Senator Paxton, what number are you? House Bill 844.
Yes, sir.
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. Currently, state statute does not designate all commercially sexually exploited children as victims of sex trafficking for purposes of qualifying for victim compensation grants. House Bill 844 remedies this by including solicitation or patronization of forced labor or services, including sexual conduct, by any person if the solicitation or patronization occurs in connection with a scheme or course of conduct that constitutes trafficking. To clarify that these victims may also qualify for grant programs administered by the Office of the Governor and other crime victim compensation grants. So this bill simply helps protect and aid vulnerable individuals who've suffered from the physical and emotional hardships of human trafficking.
Very good. Thank you.
And we do have a resource witness.
Did you hit your line?
No, I just got at the end.
Linda Litzinger, Texas Parent to Protect Parents, Children. State your name and who you represent.
Linda Litzinger, Texas Parent to Parent. We are for the bill. We do have children that fall into this category because of their disabilities. They get sex trafficked more often. Thank you very much.
Very good job. Josh Reno, Office of Attorney General, is a resource witness, wishes to testify. Hello? Josh?
Yes, sir. I'm just here as a resource. Happy to answer any questions.
We're in great shape.
Good deal. Thank you.
Dallas Reed, Texas Municipal Police Association is in support. T.J. Patterson, City of Fort Worth is in support. Chris Jones with Cleat is definitely in support. James Barnell with Dallas Police Association in support. My friend Tom Parkinson. Tom, you here today? Your card is in support. Carlos Ortiz, San Antonio Police Officers Association in support. And Jennifer Alman with the Texas Catholic Conference of Bishops in support. Anyone else for or against House Bill 844? If not, public testimony is closed. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 844 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmire.
Yes.
Flores. Hinojosa. Huffman.
Aye.
4-0, sir. Miles.
There being 4 ayes and no nays, House Bill 844 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk, call the roll.
Yeah. Do you want to do the answer?
There being 4 ayes, no nays, House Bill 844 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Now Senator Flores moves it be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. I was already thinking about something else. Senator West? We just like you being in our committee. You shouldn't be such a good friend because I don't want you to leave. I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. You want me to strike him? It's your call.
He's already made himself comfortable.
I don't have to go to him because you and I have to go back to Houston together.
By the time you finish talking.
I know you do. I got to go. I need you in Houston. Well, what if I make him be real quick? Senator West, get me out of this, okay? You recognize House Bill 4906.
I will do my best. HB 4906 was accomplished a simple technical fix to a statute where it appears a particular group of peace officers those employed and commissioned by educational institutions were omitted from the list of officers authorized to apply for search warrant seeking certain kinds of electronic evidence. So that's what this fix is.
Very good. Any questions? Chair is none. We have a couple of witnesses signed up. Chris Jones with CLEAT is a resource. Actually, he's in support. I don't see Chris this morning. Carlos Ortiz, San Antonio Police Officers Association in support. Susie Kennan with the Texas PTA is in support. Brian Mitchell, Dallas County Criminal District Attorney's Office is support. Anyone else would like to testify for or against House Bill 4906? Chair hears none. Public testimony is closed. And Senator Flores moves that House Bill 4906 be reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk, call the roll.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Flores.
Aye.
Hinojosa.
Aye.
Huffman.
4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 4906 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. And Senator Flores moves it be certified for local and consent. House Bill 4906 is certified for local and consent. Good job, Senator.
Thank you.
Good job. Yeah, that's my favorite senator. Find your field.
1769.
Alvarado, 1769. You're recognized, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 1769 raises the statute of limitations for certain offenses against children. It maintains the statute of limitations for the offense of sexual performance by a child to 20 years from the 18th birthday of the victim. However, it removes the requirement that the victim of this offense was younger than 17 at the time of the offense was committed. Secondly, it extends the statute of limitations for the offense of trafficking persons with the intent that the trafficked child engages in forced labor to 20 years from the 18th birthday of the victim. And finally, the bill extends the statute of limitations for the offense of possession of child pornography at 7 years from the date of the commission of the offense.
Very good.
Thank you.
Any questions of the author? We have several witnesses. Sydney Mike Mayer with Texas Advocacy Project is in support. Chris Jones with CLEAT is in support of House Bill 1769. Thomas Parkinson is in support. James Burnell, Dallas Police Association is in support. Ray Hunt, HBOU is in support. Dallas Reed, Texas Municipal Police Association is in support. Carlos Ortiz, San Antonio Police Officers support. And Mike M. Page Williams, Dallas Criminal District Attorney's Office is support. David Bahop, Harris County Deputies Association is in support. Anyone else present would like to testify for or against House Bill 1769? Not. Public testimony is closed. Senator Flores moves that House Bill 1769 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk, call the roll.
Senator Huffman just stepped up.
The hell she did. We'll wait. Do we have a quorum? And report it out. Thank you. I wasn't paying attention. Any members? I've got a couple myself I'd like to knock.
I've got 3.
Yeah. You need to go somewhere else?
Yeah, I gotta go to.
You want to get your bill?
Yes, please.
Okay, Senator Flores. He's got a conflict, got to get next door. Which was your first?
420.
He's in alphabetical order, no doubt. Verse 1. Senator Flores, recognized on House Bill 420. There is a committee substitute. If you'll explain the changes, we'll adopt the substitute when we get our quorum back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, the difference between the original bill and new substitute is the proposed committee substitute simply removes a House floor amendment that alcohol is provided by a minor by a public officer that's already addressed in the content of the original bill. So that's why we changed it. And this bill is basically when an adult provides alcohol to a minor and there's loss of life. Currently, it's a Class A misdemeanor. This House Bill 426 to address this issue by enhancing the penalty to a state jail felony for someone who's found to have provided for or made available alcohol to a minor who then, due to their impairment, caused another person serious injury or death. And this is in honor
Good bill.
of Kyle and Ethan.
Ricky Knox. is in support. Wine, Spirits, and Wholesale Beer Distributors of Texas, Todd Kirchhoff, Wine and Spirits Wholesalers of Texas, Jessica Anderson, Houston Police Department, Dallas Reed, Texas Municipal Police Associations in favor of House Bill 420. Actually, it's going to be committee substitute. Chris Jones, Combined Law Enforcement of Texas, Ray Hunt, HPOU, James Burnell, House Bill 420. Thomas Parkinson is in support. Carlos Ortiz, San Antonio, is in support. A.J. Lauterbach, Texas Sheriff Regional Alliance. Anyone else present would like to testify for or against committee substitute for House Bill 420? Not public testimony is closed. And we will wait the arrival of a quorum. What's your next repeat? 2154. Recognize Senator Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, state law currently requires certain law enforcement agencies to adopt physical fitness programs. The Office of the Attorney General is not included. This bill would allow the OAG to create a physical fitness program that benefits the physical and emotional well-being of the officers. This bill would align OAG with other state law enforcement agencies. Mr. Chairman, I consider it favorable consideration of 2154. Request passage.
Very good. Josh Reno, Office of Attorney General, is a resource for House Bill 2154. James Parnell, Dallas Police Association, is in support. Chris Jones with CLEAT. Ray Hunt is in support. And the Houston Police Officers Union is in support of House Bill 2154. Dallas Reed, Texas Municipal Police Association, is in support. Chris Ortiz with San Antonio Police Officers Association is in support. Anyone else present is for or against House Bill 2154? Not public testimony is closed.
4879.
Where is it? House Bill 4879 recognizes Senator Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, in 1976, Texas adopted the Uniform Crime Reporting System, which is the responsibility of DPS to collect, validate, tabulate reports from all reporting jurisdictions in Texas. The Texas goal was for NIBRS to transition by 2019, which did not occur. The FBI completed their transition to NIBRS on January 1st, 2021. House Bill 4879 establishes a National Incident-Based Reporting System, or NIBRS, as the default reporting system for the state, and tasks the Department of Public Safety with establishing rules to implement the system. Mr. Chairman, members,
very good. Very good. You got Senator Flores is 4879. Anyone present would like to testify for or against House Bill 4879? Michelle Ferris with DPS as a resource. Josh Anderson with Texas Police Chiefs Association is in support. Brian Mitchell with Dallas County Criminal District Attorney's Office is in support. Anyone else would like to testify for or against House Bill 4879? Not public testimony is closed. I'm going to get to Mays. Then I've got a couple of bills. Middleton, what's your number? Middleton. Mays, you want to come forward? Senator Middleton, I can find your bill. House Bill 3025, recognize the author, Senator Middleton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. This is an issue brought to Representative Vasud and myself by a constituent. In April 1995, Dina Hebert's 20-month-old child, Bianca, was taken from Texas by her father to Mexico in violation of a court-ordered child custody arrangement. Bianca's father was charged with interference with child custody, and a court issued a warrant for his arrest. Diana spent over 16 years trying to find her daughter. In May 2021, Diana and Bianca were reunited briefly near Cancun, Mexico, after a private investigator tracked Bianca's father down. And while Mexican authorities briefly took Bianca's father into custody, they did not extradite him back to Texas, reportedly because Mexico does not deem interference with child custody to be an extraditable offense under the Geneva Convention. The statute of limitations had also run on charging Bianca's father with kidnapping. House Bill 3025 amends the Penal Code to help reduce the likelihood of a similar injustice from taking place by removing the statute of limitations for interference with a child custody order, increasing the statute of limitations for kidnapping of a minor to 20 years after the minor's 18th birthday, and permitting prosecution of individuals for kidnapping if they interfere with the child custody order by fleeing the United States. And with that, I yield for questions.
Any questions of the author? If not, a couple of witnesses. Dina, Herbert Hebert? Dina. If you would, state your name and who you represent.
My name is Dina Hebert.
Dina.
Representing myself.
I'm just looking where there's about 4 names on there. Dina?
It's
Dina,
a phonetic spelling, so
Herbert Hebert.
put it so you would know.
Yeah, well, state how you'd like to be referenced, yeah.
Dina Hebert.
Great. The floor is yours for about 2 minutes, please.
Okay. Thank you for allowing me to speak here today about Bianca's Law, House Bill 3025. My firstborn and only daughter, Bianca Lozano, was kidnapped by her non-custodial father when she was a year old in 1995. 2 days ago was Mother's Day, and I've missed 28 Mother's Days and birthdays and Christmases and countless other occasions, from dance recitals to scraped knees and sleepovers, all the things a little girl brings to a mom's life, things I can never get back. In 2021, with the help of a private investigator, Mark Stevens, who is also here to testify, I was able to spend an hour and a half with Bianca in a dingy police station in Mexico. She had been told that I died during childbirth, so imagine her surprise as I sat across from her. She pored over pictures in a baby book that I had made. She expressed wanting to come back to Texas to meet her brother Devin and to see her grandparents and other family members that she doesn't remember. But because of this current statute of limitations on interference with child custody and kidnapping, Bianca's kidnapper could not be extradited back to Texas, so he was set free. But Bianca is not free. Bianca left the police station with her abductor that day and is not allowed to contact me, even though she will be 30 years old this year. She is still his prisoner. Parental kidnapping is a crime. Please support Bianca's Law to extend the statute of limitations, and don't let this tragedy happen to another Texan. Thank you.
Yeah, good. I'm curious, you say what's her status?
I'm sorry?
Her status, you got my attention.
She's still with her dad. She went back with him after he was let out of custody in Mexico.
In Mexico?
Mm-hmm. He controls everything that she does, even though she's an adult. She doesn't work. She doesn't have friends. She doesn't have social media. I left a cell phone for her so she and I could communicate, and she sent me a few texts, and then after that, the text stopped. And they were texts from her dad after that.
Well, we're sorry, and thank you for your courage to come down. We'll pass this bill shortly.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mark, did you want to testify? State your name and who you represent, please. Couple of minutes.
Mark Stevens, and I'm representing myself. Well, thank you for your time today. I appreciate you listening to the story. My name is Mark Stevens. My background is in law enforcement with nearly 3 decades of service as a Texas peace officer. I'm a retired detective from the Houston Police Department and currently a private investigator licensed by the state of Texas. At the heart of this bill is a young girl named Bianca Lozano. Bianca was kidnapped from her mother at the age of 1-year-old and was officially listed as a missing person for the next 25 years. Despite the best efforts of the local and state law enforcement, the FBI, the State Department, Homeland Security, the U.S. Consulate, Interpol, several private investigators, and a number of Mexican law enforcement agencies, Bianca remained missing, and her kidnapper remained listed as a wanted fugitive out of Harris County, Texas, for interference with child custody. I became involved in this investigation when Bianca's mother contacted me through local media and asked for my help. After hearing her story, my first thought was this girl's a Texan, and it's time to saddle up and go get her. And so I did. I was able to locate Bianca in Mexico, still living with her abductor under false identities. After I confirmed their location, I contacted the FBI, had them meet me down in Mexico and verify the information that I had discovered. We were ready to kick the door, arrest him, and get the girl when the FBI got a stand-down order because, without warning, the extradition warrant had been dropped. According to international law, interference with child custody is not an extraditable offense. So the extradition warrant was dropped, and the FBI no longer had jurisdiction. They had to abandon the case.
Okay, go ahead and finish.
Sorry. So I contacted the district attorney in Harris County to try to file additional aggravated kidnapping charges, but we found that the statute of limitations had expired for that. The international law does recognize aggravated kidnapping as an extraditable offense, so if we were able to file that charge, we could have brought him back. As it stands, the Mexican police, we went back, arrested him, got the girl. They had their brief moment. Ironically, I've spent more time with this girl than her mother has in the last 25 years. I spent 2 hours with her, looking into her eyes, and I had to explain to her who she was, what happened to her, what her real name was, that she was an American citizen, that she was a Texan. And she didn't know any of this. She's, for all practical purposes, she's still being held captive. When her father was released in Mexico, he took her back. And for the second time, she's lost her daughter. So I would implore you to pass this bill. No other Texas mother, no other Texas child should have to go through this.
Very good. Senator Hinojosa has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's a real heartbreaking story. And the reality is that when you take and kidnap a baby, and then you raise that child for 20 years.
Yes.
The child knows nothing else than what has been pretty much taught, educated, and I don't want to say brainwashed, but in the information.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yes. And but I can tell you that when I spoke to this child, and she realized who she was and that she was an American citizen, she wanted to get her passport. She wanted to come back the next day to see her mother in the hotel. She wanted to come back to the United States. Unfortunate circumstance, we were hit by a hurricane the very day we found her. He was released. Everything happened quickly, and she was gone again. And she never came back to the hotel the next day like she wanted to. He never allowed her to go back and get that passport and come back. And if we had been able to file that aggravated kidnapping charge and extradite him, she would be here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Dallas Reed, Texas Municipal Police Association, in support. James Burnell, Dallas Police Association, is in support. Chris Jones, Combined Law Enforcement of Texas, is in support of House Bill 3025. Ray Hunt, HBOU, is in support of House Bill 305. Tom Parkinson, House Bill 305. Carlos Ortiz, San Antonio Police Officers Association, in support. A.J. Louderback, Texas Air Regional Alliance, is in support. Anyone else present would like to testify for or against House Bill 3025? Public testimony is closed. We'll vote this out when we get quorum. Show Senator King present.
Thank you, sir.
Senator King, you got any? I know when the host says. Yeah. I got a couple too.
All right.
Why don't you let me do mine right quick? Is that all right? Yeah. Let me lay out the House bill.
2897.
3553.
This time the chair lays out House Bill 3553 and recognizes Chairman Whitmire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, last session we passed Senate Bill 1831, which made an offense of human trafficking a first-degree felony if the crime occurred on or within 1,000 feet of a primary or secondary school. House Bill 3553, Sean Theory, will add colleges and universities to that list. A lot of college students are away from home for the first time in unfamiliar environments, which makes them more vulnerable to trafficking and exploitation. House Bill 3553 will help to deter human trafficking at this level. Thank you.
Okay, we'll open public testimony on House Bill 3553. We have Linda Letzinger for the bill. She's for the bill. We have Dallas Reed for the bill. No testimony, resource witness. We have James Parnell for the bill. No testimony. We have Chris Jones for the bill. No testimony. Ray Hunt for the bill. No testimony. We have Carlos Ortiz for the bill. No testimony. We have Brian Mitchell for the bill. No testimony. We have A.J. Lauterbeck for the bill. No testimony. Is there anybody else present who would like to testify for, on, or against House Bill 3553? If not, public testimony is closed, and we'll leave the bill pending, subject to a quorum.
Thank you. How about 3554?
Which one?
3554. Same issue.
The chair lays out House Bill 3554, recognizes Chairman.
Thank you. 3554 is very familiar to House Bill 3553, but this bill adds facilities that are related to the state's child protective system. Children under the state's care often have a history of homelessness, family instability, and abuse. Sadly, their need for structure and connection make them ideal targets for predators. This bill will add us to deter these crimes as well as better protecting children. It expands the conduct constituting a first-degree felony of trafficking in persons if the offense was committed on the premises or within 1,000 feet of the premises of juvenile detention facility, post-adjudication, secure correctional facility, residential treatment facilities, foster care facilities, or child care facilities. I so move.
Okay. At this time, we'll open public testimony on House Bill 3554. We have Linda Letzinger for the bill, not wishing to testify. We have Dallas Reed for the bill, not wishing to testify. James Parnell for the bill, no testimony. Chris Jones for the bill, not wishing to testify. Ray Hunt for the bill, no testimony. Carlos Ortiz for the bill, no testimony. Brian Mitchell for the bill, no testimony. And A.J. Lauterbeck, the sheriff, for the bill, not wishing to testify. Anybody else present who would like to testify for, on, or against House Bill 3554? If not, public testimony is closed.
You know what you might do? I've got a couple more, and with all that law enforcement, just might read that in the record after we get through.
4528?
Yeah, I've got 2897. I'm just saying on that list of law enforcement, most of them are not even here, which I think ought to be corrected. If you're going to fill out a card, you might ought to stay here. But anyway, we'll deal with that after this morning. House Bill 2897. When a business receives a hot check, the business can't file a complaint with a local prosecutor until they've sent a demand letter requesting the payment from the customer. However, two sections of the Penal Code provide different instructions for determining the address of where to send the letter. House Bill 2897 harmonizes the statutes to clarify the address options of where to send a demand letter. Records It would allow mailing address sources from the records of the persons whose service was secured, or if the actor secured performance of service by issuing or passing a check or similar site order for the payment of payment using the actor's address shown on the check or order on the records of the bank or other drawee on which check is drawn. I so move. So.
Okay. We'll open public testimony on House Bill 2897. We have
A bunch of law.
Stephanie Garhenanen from the Travis County District Attorney's Office for the bill, and I wish to testify. We have James Purnell for the bill, no testimony. We have Chris Jones for the bill, no testimony. We have Ray Hunt for the bill, no testimony. We have Dallas Reed for the bill, no testimony. We have Carlos Ortiz for the bill, no testimony. We have Paige Williams for the bill, no testimony. We have A.J. Lauterbach for the bill, no testimony. Anybody else present who would like to testify for, on, or against House Bill 2897? If not, public testimony is closed.
4528.
This time the chair lays out House Bill 4528, recognizes Chairman Whitmire.
House Bill 4528 repeals language in current law that requires a peace officer to take possession of an individual's driver's license upon refusal to take an intoxication test upon arrest as a means of suspending the license. The bill also makes conforming changes to remove references to those repealed sections of the law. DPS can more easily suspend license electronically in comparison to having police and DPS keep track of confiscated license. Since a driver's license also serves as an ID, that helps people obtain services and exercises other rights. It's overly punitive to confiscate a license of someone who hasn't yet been convicted of a crime. So this allows the DPS to be more efficient and do it on their computer. I so move.
Okay. We'll open public testimony on House Bill 4528. We have Justin Crane, that's the Department of Public Safety for the bill, a resource witness. James Parnell for the bill, no testimony. Dallas Reed for the bill, no testimony. Thomas Parkinson for the bill, no testimony. We have Chris Jones for the bill, no testimony. Carlos Ortiz for the bill, no testimony. We have Ray Hunt for the bill, no testimony. Anybody else present who would like to testify for, on, or against House Bill 4528? If not, public testimony is closed.
Thank you, Senator Hinojosa. Senator King, you ready on 1661? Chair recognizes Senator King on the layout House Bill 1661.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. Current law prohibits a person who is 45 years of age or older from being certified for a beginning position in a civil service police department. This prohibition is based on age and applies regardless of whether the candidate is physically and mentally able to fulfill the duties of the job. This bill will simply lift that. I can remember that from when I was a police officer and doing background investigations. I think it was originally put there to protect retirement funds, but people are a lot healthier and living longer, and so this will just let departments decide when someone is old enough or too old to become an officer.
Very good. Any questions of Senator King? If not, T.J. Patterson, City of Fort Worth, is here. And I've got a stack of law enforcement, same ones we've heard all morning, are in support of House Bill 1661. Yeah, I know, but he's not here. T.J. Patterson, are you here? I'll read it into the record at the close of the session. Anybody else that would like to testify for or against Senate Bill 1661? Chair is none. Public testimony is closed. Senator King on House Bill 2620. I understand there's a substitute, which we'll adopt when we get a quorum. But if you'll explain the changes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. This is a long negotiated, well negotiated out bill between TDCJ and the counties. When someone's finished their adjudication, the state's supposed to pick them up within 45 days from the counties. There's really no incentive for them to timely do that. And so they sit there for a long time thereafter, and the counties are continuing to pay for medical and daily care and all that. This simply says that once that 45 days has expired and all the proper paperwork has been turned in appropriately, the state has to pick up that cost for the county. Not the medical bill, but just the daily cost of care.
We can get them.
The sub makes a few changes. It changes to 5 business days instead of 3 days. The time that TDCJ has to certify the documents that have been submitted by the county. It changes cost to confinement to the amount that would have been incurred by TDCJ instead of amount determined by the commissioners of the county. It reimburses the only for each day beyond the 45th instead of all the days as was previously, as well as some other penalties that are in there. And it adds a savings clause for circumstances where TDCJ's failure to timely take into custody is caused by an action of the county. And again, it's been heavily negotiated, and I think everybody's on the same page now, so to speak.
Very good. Brian Collier's present as a resource witness with TDCJ if we need him. Jim Allison with the county commissioners. Jim, state your name and who you represent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Jim Allison. I'm the senior counsel of the County Judges and Commissioners Association of Texas. I want to thank the committee and Senator King for bringing forward this bill. As the chair will recall, this chair carried the legislation in 1991 that put the 45-day requirement in effect. This bill completes the circle. It does not cost the state any more money. It ensures that the money that you appropriate for the care and custody of these prisoners is actually used for the care and custody of these prisoners, and it ensures it does not end up being a burden on the local county property taxpayer. Be happy to answer any questions. Thank you for hearing the bill.
Good bill.
Thank you, Jim. Russell Sheffines, Fort Worth. You going to thank us again?
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. So,
you're always welcome. State your name and who you represent.
Russell Schaffner, Assistant County Administrator for Tarrant County, and we are for the bill and wanted to thank Senator King for his hard work on this bill, as well as with the committees and lieutenant governors. This bill is incredibly important to Tarrant County. This will give us the ability to have to stabilize out some of our budgetary issues that we have, especially with overtime in the jail and working with, since the jail is the largest cost driver that we have. So I wanted to say thank you for all the hard work on this. Senator King, it's a great bill. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Paul Sugg with Harris County is in support. James Parnell, Dallas Police in support. Ray Hunt, HBOU in support. Kelly Taylor, North and East Texas Commissioners Association is in support. Roger Morris, Oldham County Commissioner is in support. Cicely Kay, Texas County Commissioners Court is in support. Paige Williams with the Dallas Criminal District Attorney's Office is in support of House Bill 2620. Adam Haynes, Conference of Urban Counties, in support of House Bill 2620. Philip McFurlow, 106th Judicial District Attorney, Alameda is in support. And A.J. Louderbout, Texas Sheriff's Regional Alliance is in support. Anyone else for or against what is going to be committee substitute for House Bill 2620? Chair is none. Public testimony is closed.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to be right across the hall. If you get four,
Yeah, I'm going to get
come right back.
Senator Flores back. We'll holler at you and maybe
Right across the hall.
Thank you. Senator King, thank you. Senator Hinojosa, let's look at which one of yours you would like to do.
1710.
Got you covered. Senator Hinojosa is recognized to lay out and explain House Bill 1710. I understand there's a substitute, which, if you'll explain, we'll adopt when members return.
Thank you, Chairman and members. Under current law, judges have the ability to suspend a state jail sentence after 75 days and impose community supervision. Yet, this is seldom done because there is no adequate mechanism to notify judges when a defendant has served the 75th day. House Bill 1710 requires the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, on the request of the judge, to notify the judge of the date a defendant would have served 75 days in a state jail felony facility. The notice must be provided by email or other electronic communications no later than the 60th day after a defendant was received into custody at the facility. The substitute simply extends the effective date by 1 year to give the department time to implement the policy.
Any questions? Brian Collier's resource witness. Anyone else present would like to testify for or against committee substitute for House Bill 1710? Chair hears none. Public testimony is closed. Chair will host House Bill 1914.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In 2011, the legislature passed House Bill 988, which allows individuals in the correctional officer series to carry compensatory time up to 2 years. For all other TDCJ employees, they can only keep comp time for up to 1 year before it lapses. This bill simply allows TDCJ employees outside the correctional series the same opportunity and moves the accrual date period to 2 years. The idea was actually brought forward by employees of TDCJ in a town hall meeting held by the executive director, and this would be another opportunity to help retain some of the loyal employees who are working hard every day for the state.
Good bill. Senator Jeff Ormsby is here to testify. Jeff, if you'll state your name and who you represent, please.
Yes, sir. Jeff Ormsby, Texas Correctional Employees Council. Good morning. My name is Jeff Ormsby. I'm the Executive Director of Texas Correctional Employees Council, also a retired correctional officer with 28 years experience. HB 1914 is a good start. As you know, TDCJ employees put their lives on the line every day and did more so during COVID pandemic when 78 staff members lost their lives. TDCJ has worked with over 8,000 vacancies for several years. The agency mandated officers, sergeants, lieutenants, and other staff to work well beyond their scheduled hours and were even made to come in on their scheduled days off, even when their bodies and minds could take no more. One of the top complaints we hear consistently for our members is the issue of comp time. Consider this. In the first 6 months of this fiscal year, TDCJ staff lost over 118,000 hours of comp time that lapsed because they were not granted permission to use it because of a large number of vacant positions. How do we expect anyone to want to stay working for any job, much less one of the most dangerous, for free? 118,000 hours in just 6 months, and these are still adding up and still being lost every month. TDCJ is only averaging a gain of 73 new employees a month. This is an agency that has over 30,000 employees and over 7,000 vacancies. TDCJ does not have a hiring problem. They have a retention problem. There is more incentive to quit the agency and cash out comp time on the books, take a nice vacation, and rehire months later. This is no way to retain staff. You have all provided increases. Thank you very much for that. So pay is competitive with other correctional agencies, but the loss of comp time is not. Other states and agencies ensure comp time is used, paid, or rolled over towards retirement or leave. I know the agency is leery on this because of the fiscal note, but we ask you to amend this bill to at least allow them to pay comp time if they can, if we can get a fiscal note to it, or at least allow these officers, sergeants, and lieutenants to roll this over more than 2 years towards a retirement, to other leave. We can't allow these staff members to work for free. It's just not right. They put their lives on the line every day, 16 to 20 hours a day. They deserve to be paid. They have upheld their end of the bargain, keeping the community safe. The state needs to uphold theirs and pay these or allow them to carry it over. Thank you.
We appreciate your work and the sacrifice commitment that you all have to our state. We appreciate the testimony and bringing this to our
Appreciate you.
attention.
Senator Hinojosa and I'll do everything we can to help.
Thank you very much.
Ann Bishop. State your name, Ms. Bishop, and who you represent.
Good morning. I'm Ann Bishop, Executive Director of Texas Public Employees Association, and I'm testifying for the bill. This is a good bill. This is one of the bills that gives the agency tools in their toolbox to help retain their employees. It is also a good start to providing an opportunity for an amendment to be able to pay or rollover this type of time to either other leave or an appropriations to be able to cash out it. This is important because we want to give agencies everything that they need to be able to attract and retain state employees. And this is one of about 5 bills that are making their way through the systems that agencies have recommended that the legislature look at, and we think that the cost is de minimis in the long run to give agencies the tools to do what they need. Thank you for your time and appreciate your service.
You're right. Thank you, ma'am. Brian Collier, TDCJ, is here as a resource witness. Anyone else present would like to testify on House or against House Bill 1914? Not. Public testimony is closed. You got Benton
I have
Court.
House Bill 1427.
Chair recognizes Senator Hinojosa to lay out House Bill 1427.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Currently, there's a loophole in the state penal code that allows obscene, intimidating, or threatening telephone calls or other electronic communications on temporary telephone numbers to be excluded as harassment. This allows for harassment offenses to continue without criminal punishment and for the continued victimization of both minor and adult Texans. This bill seeks to address the loophole on harassment from temporary and disposable electronic numbers in the Texas State Penal Code. As technology continues to evolve, there's an updated level of protection that must be included to address how harassment techniques have changed. House Bill 1427 resolves this issue by adding specific language to the Penal Code to include obscene, intimidating, or threatening telephone calls or other electronic communications from a temporary or disposable telephone number provided by an internet application or other technology means as an offense of harassment.
Okay, Senator, thank you. In support, Ray Hunt, HBOU. Alice Reed, Texas Municipal Police Association. James Parnell, Dallas Police Association. Chris Jones, Combined Law Enforcement of Texas, in support. Sidney McNair, Texas Advocacy Group, is in support. Thomas Parkinson is in support. Carlos Ortiz, San Antonio Police Department Association, support. David Patton, Harris County Deputies, in support. A.J. Lauterbach, Texas Sheriff Regional Alliance, is in support. Jessica Anderson. Thank you for being here, Jessica. You ought to talk to your colleagues and let them know. You know, it would be nice if they sign up a car, they'd stay around. But I want to recognize you for being an active participant. Thank you, Houston Police Department. Anyone else present that would like to testify for or against House Bill 1427? Public testimony closed.
House Bill 2700, Senator Huffman.
2700? You're recognized to lay out House Bill 2700.
Thank you.
Maybe I ought to say the same thing about senators. If they have bills, maybe they ought to be there.
Get them on.
Go ahead.
Unfortunately, innovations in technology have facilitated new variants of criminal activity. For example, the production and distribution of sexually explicit visual material involving children using a computer imaging software, deepfake technology, and artificial intelligence. House Bill 2700 clarifies that the creation, distribution, and possession of such computer-generated content is a criminal offense by expanding the definition of visual material to include depictions of a recognizable likeness of a minor created using deepfake technology, AI, or other computer software.
Any questions? It looks like y'all could guess who the witnesses are. We'll read them into the record. Anyone else present here that would like to testify for House Bill 2700? Well, the testimony is closed, and our regular assignees will be read into the record at a later date. Senator Huffman, Bill. Senator
3161.
Lays out 3161 by Huffman. Was a committee substitute, which we'll adopt later, if you will explain the change.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. As the 3161 will expand the statutory authority of death inquest to require them to be conducted when the decedent is unidentified, regardless of whether the cause or circumstances of death are unknown. The committee substitute provides that a person may not control the disposition of a decedent remains if the person has been arrested or an arrest warrant has been issued for a homicide involving family violence against the person, or a protective order has been filed or issued against the person.
Any questions? If not, J.R. Woolley, my friend from Waller. Judge, come down and you're recognized. You'll give us your name and who you represent.
Thank you, Dean. Judge Woolley with the Justice of Peace and Constables Association. Senator Hinojosa laid it out pretty well, even though it's not his. It protects two classes of deceased individuals. The first class is people. So currently the statute says if they're unidentified but you know why they died, you don't have to do certain things. So this will, even if you know why they die, they're still unidentified, so then we can work on identifying them so they can be taken back with their family and repatriated. The second part of it, current statute says that they have to be a suspect who kills the person by whom they are the superior right of kinship, has to be indicted before that kinship is severed. So this bill allows, at an arrest or an arrest warrant being issued, it allows that severability so that it can go down. There's been several cases in Texas where the families had to sue to get this right of kinship so that they could take care of their loved one, because the person with the superior right has held it and not released it.
Very good. How many JPs are there in Waller?
In Waller?
Waller County?
Waller County, there's 4 of us.
Sure is growing.
Exponentially. But every time I drive around, there's a new subdivision going up.
How do y'all, how often do y'all redistrict?
I'm sorry?
How often do you redistrict?
Every census, every 10 years.
Y'all are required to redraw your precincts?
Yes.
Wow.
This last year we went pretty much the whole west end of the county as one precinct, and then the east side is the 3.
Do the JPs follow the lines of the commissioners?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's kind of a dumb question. It's the way it is in here, everywhere, I guess. Huh?
Most places it is. Harris County's not. They're separate.
Well, they do things a lot different. Kendrick Jones has become a good friend of mine. You're commissioner.
He's a good friend of mine too.
And I've watched his precinct, which he was elected in 3 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Along 290, which includes Prairie View, and the new subdivisions is drastically changing his precinct.
His precinct goes it goes down to the north end of Katy now.
Yeah. So you get all those subdivisions between 290 and I-10, which is going to create a real challenge for him.
It is indeed.
Because it is completely a change in demographics and party affiliation, and
well, he's the right man for the job, I can say.
He's a good man. Tell him I said hello.
I'll do it.
Tell him to come down and see us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul Sugg? Am I mispronouncing that? Harris County Commissioners Court is actually in opposition. That's interesting. Paul Suggs. Anyone else present would like to testify for or against House, going to be committee substitute for House Bill 3161? Chair is none. Public testimony is closed. Yeah. We've completed the hearings now. We're waiting for a quorum, and I understand several senators are on their way, so does anybody out there would just like to come testify on something? Anybody got a beef? Anybody want to come shed some light on this place? Show Senator King present. In fact, why don't we call the roll? Call the roll. I want this to be done so correctly.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Hinojosa.
Present.
Betancourt.
Betancourt, you present? Yeah. He is. He's not sure, but I want to.
And King.
All right. We have a quorum. Let's start voting. Senator Hinojosa moves that committee substitute for House Bill 420 be adopted. Is there objection? Chair is none. Senator Betancourt moves that committee substitute for House Bill 420 be reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Hinojosa.
Aye.
Betancourt.
Yes.
King.
4 ayes, no nays. Committee substitute for House Bill 420 is reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Betancourt moves that committee substitute for House Bill 420 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none. So granted. Now, Senator Hinojosa moves that we adopt committee substitute for House Bill 422. Is there objection? Chair is none. So granted. Senator Betancourt moves that committee substitute for House Bill 422 be reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk, call the roll.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Hinojosa.
Aye.
Betancourt.
Aye.
King.
There being 4 ayes, no nays, committee substitute for House Bill 422 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Betancourt moves it be certified, committee substitute for House Bill 422 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair hears none, so granted. Senator Betancourt moves that House Bill 844 by Senator Paxton be reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
That one's good, sir.
Huh?
That one's good.
Well, we voted that one earlier. Good. You don't need to pass it again.
No, it's passed twice.
Yeah, we'd charge her extra for that. House Bill 1184 by Johnson. Senator Betancourt moves that House Bill 1184 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Hinojosa.
Aye.
Betancourt.
Yes.
King.
Aye. Before ayes, no nays, House Bill 1184 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Betancourt moves it be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Hinojosa moves that House Bill 1427 by Betancourt be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Hinojosa.
Aye.
Betancourt.
Yes.
King.
4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 1427 is reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Betancourt moves that House Bill 1427 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Hinojosa moves that House Bill 1661 by Senator King be reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Hinojosa.
Aye.
Betancourt.
Aye.
King.
Being 4 ayes, no nays, House Bill 1661 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator King moves that it be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Betancourt moves that committee substitute for House Bill 1710 be adopted. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Betancourt moves that committee substitute for House Bill 1710 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmire,
Yes.
Hinojosa,
Aye.
Bettencourt,
Aye.
King,
4 ayes, no nays. Committee substitute for House Bill 1710 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Benton moves that committee substitute for 1710 be certified for local consent. Is there objection? Chair hears none, so granted. Senator Hinojosa moves that House Bill 1769 by Alvarado be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmire,
Yes.
Hinojosa,
Aye.
Bettencourt,
Yes.
King,
4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 1769 is reported back to full Senate with favorable recommendation. Senator Benton moves that House Bill 1769 be certified for local consent. Is there objection? Here is none, so granted. Senator Benton moves that House Bill 1914 be reported by Hinojosa be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmire,
Yes.
Hinojosa,
Aye.
Bettencourt,
Aye.
King,
4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 1914 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Hinojosa moves that House Bill 1914 be certified for local consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Okay, moving right along. Senator Benton moves that House Bill 2154 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk call roll.
Whitmire,
Yes.
Hinojosa,
Aye.
Bettencourt,
Aye.
King,
Being 4 ayes, no nays, House Bill 2154 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Benton
give me 1 second.
moves that House Bill 2154 certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Benton moves that committee substitute House Bill 2620 by King be adopted. Is there objection to the adoption of the substitute? Chair is none, so granted. Now Senator Benton moves that committee substitute for House Bill 2620 be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk call roll.
Whitmire,
Yes.
Hinojosa, Bettencourt,
Yes.
King,
There being 4 ayes, no nays, committee substitute for House Bill 2620 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Benton moves that committee substitute for House Bill 2620 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Hinojosa moves that House Bill 2660 by Hughes be reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
26-6. Whitmire,
Yes.
Hinojosa,
Aye.
Bettencourt, King,
Yes.
King,
Aye.
yes.
Being 4 ayes, no nays, House Bill 2660 is reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Hinojosa moves that House Bill 2660 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none. Senator Hinojosa moves that House Bill 2670 be reported back to the full Senate for a favorable recommendation.
Whitmire,
Yes.
Hinojosa,
Aye.
Bettencourt,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 2670 is reported back to full Senate with favorable recommendation. Senator Hinojosa moves that it be certified for local consent. Thank you. It is. No objection. Senator Benton moves that House Bill 2700 by Huffman be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Clerk call the roll.
Whitmire,
Yes.
Hinojosa,
Aye.
Bettencourt,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Being 4 ayes, no nays, House Bill 2700 by Huffman is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Benton moves that House Bill 2700 be certified for local consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Benton moves that committee substitute for, we've already done that one? Good job. Senator Hinojosa moves that House Bill 2897 by Whitmire be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmire,
Aye.
Hinojosa, Bettencourt,
Yes.
King,
4 ayes, no nays. House Bill 2897 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Benton moves that House Bill 2897 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Benton moves that House Bill 3025 by Middleton be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Hinojosa. Bettencourt.
Yes.
King.
Four ayes, no nays. House Bill 3025 is reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Benton moves that House Bill 3025 be certified for local on consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Benton moves that we adopt committee substitute for House Bill 3161 by Huffman. Is there objection? Chair hears none, so done. Senator Benton moves that committee substitute for House Bill 3161 by Huffman be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Hinojosa. Bettencourt.
Yes.
King.
Four ayes, no nays. Committee substitute for Senate Bill 3161 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Benton would move that committee substitute for 3161 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Hinojosa moves that House Bill 3186 by Zaffarini be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Hinojosa. Bettencourt.
Yes.
King.
Four ayes, no nays. House Bill 3186 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Benton moves that House Bill 3186 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Now, Senator Benton moves that House Bill 3553 by Whitmer be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Hinojosa. Bettencourt.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Four ayes, no nays. House Bill 3553 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Benton moves it be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Benton now moves that House Bill 3554 by Whitmer be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Hinojosa. Bettencourt.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Four ayes, no nays. House Bill 3554 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Benton moves that House Bill 3554 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Benton now would move that House Bill 3660 by Zaffarini be reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Hinojosa. Bettencourt.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Four ayes, no nays. House Bill 3660 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Benton moves that House Bill 3660 be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Benton would move that House Bill 4528 by Whitmer be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yep.
Hinojosa. Bettencourt.
Yes.
King.
The four ayes, no nays. House Bill 4528 is reported back to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Benton moves it be certified for local and consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Benton would move that House Bill 4879 by Flores be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Hinojosa. Bettencourt. King.
There being four ayes, no nays, House Bill 4879 will be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Benton moved that House Bill 4879 be certified for local consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Benton moves that House Bill 4906 by West be reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Hinojosa. Bettencourt.
Yes.
King.
Four ayes. House Bill 4906 by West is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Benton moves that it be certified for local consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Senator Benton moves that House Bill 5195 by Johnson be referred back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Hinojosa. Bettencourt.
Yes.
King.
Four ayes, no nays. House Bill 5195 is reported back to full Senate with a favorable recommendation. Senator Benton moves that House Bill 5195 be certified for local consent. Is there objection? Chair is none, so granted. Wow. Thank you, everyone. And I guess if the members that were here want to come by and vote, they can. Thanks to the clerk for doing a lot of the paperwork. Good job.
That Senator Betancourt was awfully busy over that way.